Well, hello mathematicians. We are here looking at a problem involving three numbers, trying to find the greatest common factor and then the least common multiple. Now, the reason I wanted to do this is because I know for sure that I made a mistake at the end of my last class. I do not know if I made the same mistake in the other two classes. I can't recall. So what I'm going to do is try and clarify it for everybody and make sure that you all understand how to do it so that you get the correct answer. All right? So as you know, when you use the ladder method, that you're looking for common factors, right? And then you can use these common factors to find other numbers, such as the greatest common factor among numbers or the least common multiple among numbers. So in this case, we have three numbers, 36, 24, 96, and I'm going to go ahead and put it in the ladder. And what's the first question I ask myself? Right, are they even? Because if they are even, then I can take out the least common prime number, which would be 2. And in this case, 2 times 18 is 36, 2 times 12 is 24, and 2 times 48 is 96. All right. And lo and behold, they are even again. 2 times 9 is 18, 2 times 6 is 12, 2 times 24 is 48. All right. So now I have a situation where I've got an odd number with two even numbers. So I can take out a factor of 3, which is the next smallest common prime factor. All right. Now, if this column of the 96 column were absent, I would be completely done. For all three numbers, the greatest common factor is, of course, going to be found on the left. We've talked about this many times. These are the prime factors that were able to come evenly out of all of these three numbers, right? So to find the GCF, greatest common factor, you just multiply 2 times 2 times 3. And in this case, 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 3 is 12. So your greatest common factor is 12. And you're done with that. All right. Now, how do you find the least common multiple? If in fact you were done with the ladder method and you had no common factors left, you would be able to multiply down and around. So let me go ahead and switch. Let's switch to an orange one. You would multiply like this. Down and around. And that would work if we didn't have, as I said, 96 over here, because 3 and 2 are both prime factors and they have no common factors. So you could just multiply down and across and be okay. So let's try it with 96 in the mix and see what we get. So starting with the greatest common factor factors, that's going to be 2 times 2 times 3. And then the factors we have down at the bottom left over times 3 times 2 times 8. And let's see what we get. Well, we already said over here that 2 times 2 times 3 is 12. So I'm just going to put a 12 there. Times 3, that's going to give me 36. Times 2 is going to give me 72. Times 8. Well, how do we do this in our head? 8 times 7 is 56. I know that fact. And 8 times 7 tens is 560. Plus 8 times 2, which is 16. So 16 and 560 is going to give me 576. And you can check my math. All right, so is this the least common multiple? 576? Well, guess what? We have a common multiple of 2 in the 2 and the 8. So I'm actually going to have to make another factor. And let me switch inks so you can see this later. So I'm going to go ahead and make my ladder, okay? And I'm going to factor out that common 2, and that will leave me with 1 and 4. However, I must not neglect to keep this in the mix, okay? I couldn't take a 2 out of this guy, this 3. There was no factor of 2 there. But without him, I'm missing a factor, right? So I need to make sure that that 3 stays in play here. And so I'm going to rewrite now this group of factors, all the factors that we found. I'm going to rewrite them over here in pink. And that's going to be 2 times 2 times 3 times 2 times 3 times 1 times 4. Okay, and so let's go ahead and check that. We said 2 times 2 times 3 is 12, times 2 is 24, times 3 is 72, times 1 is nothing, times 4. So how do I, 72 times 1 is 72, so I can just drop the 1 at that point. And then 72 times 4, how do I do that? So in my head, I know that 7 times 4 is 28, so 7 tens times 4 is 28 tens, plus 2 times 4, which is 8. So 28 tens is 280, and 2 times 4 is 8, so that's 288. So let me just check. I want to make sure that at least one of these numbers, I'm going to do a quick check, can divide evenly into 288. Well, I'm going to choose 96 because 96 is about 100 and 288 is about 300. So if I divide 288 by 3, I should get 96. What about if I multiply 96 times 3, I should get 288. So 3 times 6 is 18. Bring up the 10. Oops. And 3 times 9 tens is 27 tens, plus 1 more 10 is 28 tens. And there we go. It checks. So now I'm saying that the least common multiple is 288. So what's the difference between 288 and 576? Well, guess what? The difference is right here in this factor of 2 that we factored out. So let's multiply 288 times 2 and see what we get. Lo and behold, it's 576. Okay, so you can see that this factor of 2 that we factored out of the 2 and the 8 is important for helping us to find the actual least common multiple. And if you've been doing in your homework numbers 23 to 26 and finding that or 27 to 30 and finding that your answers are off by some factor of 2 or 3, it's probably because this common factor wasn't taken out. So I just want to caution you again, make sure that you bring down those numbers that don't have a common factor so that you remember to multiply them when you're doing your final process to make sure that you find the least common multiple. All right? Well, that's all I've got for you today. I hope you have a great day.